Hi friends, welcome to WebChamp. So in this video, I'm going to discuss working with objects in Power Automate. In my previous video, I discussed working with arrays in Power Automate. So array is a collection. Again, object is a collection type variable, but array is used to store the list of values. However, object is used to store the data in the key and value pair. Right. So both are the kind of variables because it's they are going to hold the data, and the object is like JSON object or dictionary in Python or a hash map in Java. Like this means the data structure is same across the any of the programming language. The way it differs is how you can use that, how you can apply the logic on these kind of collections. Right. So in my last session, I shown you how objects look. So now if I, okay, so if I open, even I can show you the objects. So we will start with the creating flows, and then objects will looks like this. Inside a curly bracket, you will have the name and then associated name, then role and this kind of role also. I mean the value of role, certification, like this list of certification. So if you see anything, the values which are sitting inside a square bracket, you can say that is an array. But if you see values are sitting in a key and value pair in curly bracket, you can say that is an object in Power Automate. So it's a like powerful way we can say to manage the structured data, because whenever you read the data from the table, if you read the data from a SharePoint list or Excel file or from the APIs, whatever, you will get the data in the table format. But in Power Automate, we cannot handle that data in a table format. So that data will be, at the time of reading the data, it will be read in the JSON format only, meaning in the form of objects. So objects are used for the grouping the related data, like the person information, user information, employee information can be stored in a single object. But we can have more than one employee in a company, right? So how the objects are working? Okay, so what I will do is, let me open this Excel. Okay, so here you can see 1 2 3, and if I select this table, let me say remove duplicate, and I am going to remove the duplicate based on the email ID. So I'll just show you how it works, right? So like this, we have a data in the table format, and if I read the data, okay, so let me edit this file to employee only, right? So if I would like to read the data in Power Automate, how it will read, let's understood that first, and then only you will be able to understood how to work with the objects, right? So here, for each row, one object will be created. Key will be the name of column, value will be the value, right? So we can write a formula here. So is equals to, this value will be static headers, right? Then and this is the first key and value pair. If I enter, you can see this is coming in key as my employee ID and header as my value, right? So what I will do is I will put this inside a curly bracket, and I will use ampersand here to perform the concatenation. Let me add a space so that it looks better. Okay, so this is one way. Next is you need to add the comma. So use ampersand again, add the comma. Okay, if you are not familiar with the Excel, don't worry, you need not to do this, but I'm just trying to explain the things, how it is going to work, how it looks. So next header is like this, and again ampersand in the double. Okay, in this I would like to pass colon and ampersand and then value. Again ampersand. What I will do, I will stop creating a type of objects here only. Meaning I'll use the two column values, okay, for the demonstration purpose. So let me add some space here. So okay. And again, I would like to add the space here also, here also. Okay. So now you can see this is how the object structure looks like. Employee ID is the header. So for each row, meaning whenever I'll go and I'll read the data from table, it will create the one row in the form of object, right? So here, just consider that we have a two columns table. So I picked this. You can add any more like this using the formulas. Okay. So here, if I drag this formula to the next row, what will happen? You can see employee ID is changed, name is changed. Again, I will drag the formula for the next row. So this is how what it will create. Meaning, whenever you read the data for one row, it will create the object, JSON object in the form of key and value pair. Okay, key and value pair is formed. But now, how to hold the entire table as a single collection? Obviously, that's what we have to do now, right? So what it will does is it will consider this is, I mean, these objects are list of arrays, meaning it will combine all the objects in comma separated values. Okay, in comma separated values, right? Control C and okay. So if I open the word, let me paste all this here, right? So this is how it will read the data. Okay, and what it does, so since this is a table, it will put everything inside a square bracket. Everything inside a square bracket. And this is how your table collection looks like in Power Automate. No matter from where you read the data, but this is the way it reads the data. Along with this, there are lots of headers that we will see. I will show you when I'll read the data in the form of object, and then we will see how to work with the objects. Okay. Okay, fine. So this is nothing but object. This structure, key value, key value, key value. Each row is represented by an object, and entire table is represented as a list of object, because rows are sitting in an object. And you have to work with this kind of data whenever you are reading a data from Power. When you are reading a data from Excel, SharePoint list, or any other kind of file that holds the structured data, or if you are getting a table from the Power BI also, right? So what I will do is I will go and I will say make.powerautomate.com. I will just open this because we are going to create a flow here. So let me see how many flows are there. for me. Okay, so we will create a new flow, and instant cloud flow, I will say working with okay objects. I will use, instead of saying Power Automate object, I will say working with objects in. Okay, we are already in Power Automate. Leave that. Okay, trigger is this, and let's say. So to get the object, what I will do, I will use the SharePoint connector, online Excel connector. So I'll read the file from Excel, OneDrive. I'll read the data from Excel from OneDrive. So here you can search for the Excel, or you can say list rows present in a table. So this is the action name. They already defined. I know, that's why I'm using this. Otherwise, you can search for the Excel online or business like this only. So if you search for the Excel, so Excel online is nothing but it is a part of OneDrive. So here it reads the data from Excel, which is a you already stored on the OneDrive. But the minimum requirement is that at least your data should be in a table format. Otherwise, it is not going, because Power Automate is going to work with, or you can use the Power Automate only with the structured data, not with the unstructured data. So it will not read the data from range. It will read the data from table only. So let's the rows present in a table. Even any type of operation you can perform on the table only from here. You cannot do that. If you want to do without table, you need to use the CSV files. Okay. So select the location, select the library, and now it will populate for the file. So we have a file. We will go to the desktop. Okay, then inside the content, inside the data analyst, then inside this Power Automate. So hierarchy you need to follow, and this is the way. You cannot paste the path directly. Okay, controls, you can't go here and then copy the path and paste there. That is not going to work. You need to select, then select the name of the table, right? So everything is done. We selected what we want. Okay, now let's run this. I'm just running to show you what we read is a table from Excel, but how Power Automate is going to treat that. Let's see the output of this. So this is the raw input, whatever the input we have given. If I click on this, you will be able to see here. So get item operation ID I performed. This is what the and then source is me, that is showing. I'm reading it from myself drive, then drive ID. Okay, so these are the cloud-based IDs. We will not get, we will not be able to understand how this, but these are auto-generated keys that is referencing to the file. If I see the output of this step, if I see the output of this step, what you can see here, this is an object. This is inside a curly bracket. Inside a curly bracket, we have a status code. So this says the what operation you performed is successful. Okay. Then there is something called a header, cache, pragma. So these are the headers for the cloud operation. Okay, so we, meaning while reading it, it gets generated. So internally, this kind of things are created whenever you load the file on the, or whenever you upload the file on the OneDrive. So these many things are comes into picture. Our interest is not in these headers. Our interest is, okay, so first we saw status code, then we saw headers. Okay, headers I don't like to access, but here you can see that the date, it is just showing the time in the GMT. Okay, that is not our time. Then we have another key value pair or another object as a body, right? So body content o data context and then values, o data context. Whenever you read, meaning each row, again you can see, okay, so the way it assigns the IDs for the file. Similarly, it assigns the, or it creates the IDs for the, whenever it gets uploaded on the cloud. So it gets it assigns the IDs, one unique ID for that row. So data dot e tag and item internal ID will be automatically added to your table. This is what not coming from the Excel. So what we have is we have these many 5 columns. Employee ID, name, email, designation, and department. This is what we saw sometime before. And it is reading, as I said, it is reading the data in the form of key and value pair. For each row, it will create a one object. And for the entire table, it will hold the collection in the square bracket. That is nothing but an array. So that's why we can say table in Power Automate, we can say the table is a list of object, right? So this is what you should first understood, and then you will be able to perform the various kind of operations. Now we will see how to get the value of any specific key, right? So how to access that? This is fine. So what I can do, I can create a variable also. If you want me to create, I can create a variable. That is even fine. So it's not like that you can get the object only from the list or from the table. You can create your own objects also. Okay, so I will, okay, not this. So let me create a variable to create an object. Okay, so I'll show you that how this is the one way we saw. Another way is you can create the object. So let me say initialize the variable, and variable name is like user info. User info. Okay, and this will be of type array, and I will just copy the values. Okay, okay. So it says invalid array. I should select the object and then paste the value. So now it says, it will says, okay, this is fine. So this is going to create a objects. Again, the inside a object, I have a list of values. I have a list of value, meaning I have an array. So it is possible. You can have the arrays inside an object. You can have the objects inside an array. Anything is possible. And that's why you need to understand how to play around these data structures. If you know very well that how to work with the object, what you are going to access and what you wants to do, you will be able to build the logic. All right. So now, if I take this first one, even that is fine. So I will say compose. Okay, and here, if I show you the user info, I'm just trying to show you. Okay, I'm not going to perform anything here at this moment. I will just show you. I used the object variable. Okay, in compose you can see this is what the input I give, and the same output I'll get. Okay, because I'm not going to perform me anything on this. I just wanted to show you. But here, okay, in compose variable we passed that was simple structure. But here, if you see, we saw that how the things are like. So I would like to access the values. So whenever you read the data from the a table or from the Excel table or SharePoint list, so you will get these kind of options in the data from previous table. Okay, so sensitivity label ID, you can get details about the sensitivity. I mean, these are the details that I was showing in headers. It was there. So, but if you want to pick the columns also, you will be able to pick the column. Single column, if you want to pick, you can pick. Okay, I just selected email IDs. So what it does automatically. Okay, so let me run this and let's see the output. Okay, so status code headers inside of first object. Okay, so let me say, let's take a snippet of this and consider that this is our object. Okay, this is what we need to understood, right? Here whenever you select it, it picks the data or it picks the things automatically. But the problem is I don't want to do that. Otherwise, you will not understood how this works. Okay, let me delete. Since we are going to perform operation on the each item of array, each item of array. So you will be doing like this. You can go and you can select the operations. So why I'm using compose? Compose, you do not need to do anything. You can build any kind of expression here, and that will work. Okay, so here I can say enter data from previous step, and if I go, okay, so if I go to the here insert expression, and here again you will get an option to do that. So what I would like to do is I would like to get the list of values, list of all the values. Okay, all the values. If I click on this, so how this looks, you can see how this looks. And what we have here, his expression and this, just try to understand. It says output of the step name. Output is a function that is used to access. Then it gives the question mark. Okay, then it gives the question mark and then it says body slash value. Meaning by giving the question mark inside a square bracket, if you pass the only body, it will pick all the data, including this o data dot l, right? So let's do that. Or let me select just output. Okay, we will go step by step. Let me run. So what we did is we just try to read the output of this step. So it will be as it is, very similar to the output of above. It is, we are not going to modify. We will see how to slice the things, how to reach to the things. Okay, so here you can see input. This is what the input from header status code. Header status code we have given, and if I see the output, again same, nothing is changed. I would like to access the item called object. Okay, so in array what we can do is we can use the index. Okay, so since this is a third value, body is the third item of object, first object. First one is the status code, then headers, and then body, right? So I can access that, but I don't want to do that. What I will do is instead of that, I will go and okay, can I copy this? Okay, I can copy this. So I will access. I can access the outputs of any step. This is how you can pass and say underscore, say underscore, say underscore. Replace the space with underscore in Power Automate whenever you are reading this. Okay, we reached to the output, but from the output, I would like to access the body. I would like to access the body, only body. Okay, I'm not saying everything. So I will say body. See, whenever you are trying to access the key and its value, meaning based on the key you will be able to get the values. So I would like to get the values of a body, only body. Okay, then I will say okay. Okay, so now what I did is I just given the expression to get the body of that object, right? So now let's run this. So now you will see the difference between output. Okay, fine. So input, here you can see that input is starting from whatever was there in the body, whatever was there in the body, it has picked, including at odata.context, right? So this is the way to get the object. This is the way to get the one single object from another. Meaning whenever we have the nested objects, right? So we can do like this, objects inside an object. If we have, we can do like this, we can access, right? So this expression, let me copy this because I can't modify that here again. My interest is to reach at the values, reach at the values. So again, what I will do is I will give the values. So don't mismatch, type as it is, type as it is. If you use small caps, so this is case sensitive, and if you give the incorrect spelling, it will not work. Now let's test the flow, whether this is able to access or not. Let's see. Okay, so what it says, values cannot be evaluated because property values does not exist. Available properties are OData context value. Okay, so I must have made the again mistake. Okay, I passed values, but we don't have values called uh, like values. We have a value only. Again, let's copy this. As I said, if you made a mistake, you will get an error. So we don't have values. We have a value only. So error, it shows what you are doing wrong, but every time it will not give the clear instructions. Now let's read. Let's run the flow and try to see how it uh, gives the output. Right. So what we passed here, body, and inside a body, we are going to access the value. Right. So if I run this, now you can see the input. I'm not getting that data dot field something was there on top of value. Right. So data dot context value, I'm not getting. I'm getting the values only. Right. I'm getting list of arrays only. Meaning, sorry, list of uh, data objects, I can say. Right. So this is how you reached to the data. Now do some trials on the array. Sorry, we can say some trials on the initialize variable step, meaning user info variable. Okay. So now this is some kind of basic, I can say, on this. Let's pick this. Okay. So let's say we have a objects. Okay, if I give the variable, so how to access the value of variable? Variables function name itself is there, variables, and then inside that bracket you can pass the variable name. It will pick the output of that step. Whenever, meaning output of variable or values of variable, it will pick. So you cannot access variable values using output function. Okay, so you need to remember that. So here you can see this is what the output we have. Okay. So my requirement is in some cases, okay, I might need to update this name. Okay, this is not my full name. This is what the short name, or maybe I would like to change the name. Maybe I would like to change the role here. How I can do that? So we saw how we can access the value, right? So if I go to the user info and from here, okay, what I will do is I will try to find the name. Okay, variable and name. Let me save this. Before saving, if you run, you will get error. Okay, this is saved and let's run. Right. So what I did, I would like to get the single value. So this gives me the single value as a Brahmadev. Right. So we are able to access object properties are see whenever you have a data in this format. So this value, okay, this value is referred as a property. This is referred as a property, and property value becomes like this, meaning name is the property and inside this user info is the value. So this is how. So what is the name? Variables name, variables type, variables value, right? So this is how it works. So anything as a key is referred as a property in objects. Okay. So I would like to update the property called name. Right. I'm able to get the name. But before updating, okay. So we can see here we have these many properties: name, role, and certification. Name, role, and certification. Let's say that we don't have a property called a department, right? So, but I would like to access that, meaning I'm just trying to access the property. Okay, department. This is not there. I know. Even we know. What it does, it will save, but at the time of execution, it will throw the error. Right? It says the compose one. Okay, the template language dipt cannot be evaluated because DPT doesn't exist. The available properties are name, role, and certificate. So these three properties are available there. So you cannot access this. Okay. So now what will happen if I give the question mark here? Just see. Let's update, say save, and let's run. Okay, this time I didn't got a error. Why? Because I used the question mark. So it has written me a link, but if you ask me, this just returns. I mean, this handles the values of any property. If you are looking for any property in object, and if that property does not exist, it will ensure that it returns a null if the key doesn't exist to avoid the error. That's its only purpose of the question, adding the question mark in uh, between the, I can say, the object name and its property. So this will just make sure to return the null instead of throwing the error. Okay, that's it. Otherwise, there is no use of this. So you can do like this also. But if you are not sure that property is exist or not, or it may get changed, so in that case, if your flow should not be affected, so you can simply use the question mark. Okay. So we saw how to access the value of property. I just shown you if I use the name here, it will return my name, right? If I use the role, it will return the role or role name. But I would like to update. I would like to update. The role called data analyst to data engineer. Okay. My requirement is I would like to update the role called data analyst to data engineer. So if I go here in initialize variable, you can see my role is data analyst. I would like to change this. So how to change this? Okay, since this is a property, since this is a property, so there are functions already available. So you can use the set property, and how to use the property we will see. Even we can remove the property from the variable also. So to perform these kind of things, what we will use the compose function, meaning compose action. Inside a compose action, we will build the expression, right? So you should understood the syntax first, right? So here again, I would like to access the variable user info. This is what my object, right? So object we passed, object as an object we passed. You cannot pass object as a string. Okay, that should be in object format only. Then pass the name of property. I would like to update the role. And what will be the value? So I will say data engineer. Okay, so this is the way to update the property, update the value of object. So you cannot update directly. You need to use these functions. Okay, this is what we used. Okay, what this has done just updation. It is not going to show us a output. So again, I will use the compose, and I would like to see the value of this user info. After updating, I am going to see a value. Let's run this. Okay, this is on the table what we read from the Excel. So here what I did is this is what the input I gave, right? Entire input. Then what it has done for me, it has updated, okay, updated the value. Input, it shows, okay, so input here itself, after updating it, it shows, right? So output we can, okay, okay, okay. So what we understood from this, so here that has updated, but updated here in this step only, in the compose, this step only. Again, if I try to access, my original variable is as it is. Original variable is as it is. So what this compose is going to do, it will update, but it will keep the output with this step only. It is not going to affect the values here. My original object is remain as it is. You can see the role is data analyst. So this is how you can set the property. But original values remains same. Okay, fine. Now I would like to, let's say, remove the property called role from here, from any step. Okay. So here I was just saying, so what I will do is I will use a remove property. Remove property, pass the object. So pick it from the previous step, and object name is role. Okay, so how we can perform the operations? What it says, oh, my bad. So I built the expression, but I did not click on the add or update. So whenever you do this kind of meaning, whenever you use the insert expression, you should click on this add or update. So since here nothing is there, so it shows add. If already expression is there and you may wants to change it, you can change, and after that you can say update. So object name is like this, and the property is role. So I'm going to remove the property. Now let's see the output. Okay, run the flow. Flow execution is not done. Okay, I might be missed, or it is not worked. Okay, run the flow. Let's it done. Okay, flow is executed. Here you can see input here don't have role, right? So my object is, so you cannot do the changes with the original object, but you can change the output in later step using this set property, or you can use the remove property to change the values of object property, and then you can use this step output for further processing. So now what kind of operations we can perform on the objects? So we can loop through objects. See, if you have a data in this format, like the list of objects, right? The way we have a data here. So you can loop through it. Let me delete everything, each and every action, because this was just to show you. But still there might be a way that will update the variable. But if you want to update the variable value, why you are going to use the compose? You will directly update the value, this variable value. It replace the value using the set variable, right? So property can be replaced using the compose, and that will be the different step. And from that step, you can use the output for the further processing if you want to do that. Otherwise, existing variable will remain as it is. Okay. So we know how this table is going to return the values in the form of list of objects. So let me run this once again. Okay, it is already there. So it's not needed. Fine. If you see output, so I would like to go through the each value. So there is a syntax. Okay, there is a syntax that you can use, shorter syntax to access the body. I shown you how to use that, but the syntax is like use dynamic expression, and I will use this list of items values. So instead of passing like this, right? So you can reach to the next step by using this forward slash and then value. You will be able to do this. Okay, this is what the expression shorter syntax you can use to access the body property, and inside a body property there is a value property to access that object. Right here again, it is you can, it is a list of objects. So this is again array. This is again array, right? So if I come here, you will be able to see that this is an array. And now I would like to perform the operation on this array. So output of compose I will use, and I will use, meaning I would like to go through the each of the item of array. So to loop through the array, meaning to go through the, we know how to use the apply to each, right? And here I would like to use the output of this. Okay. Inside this, I will just show the current items. I'm not going to do anything here. I will just show you the current items. So if I go down, so because we are in a loop, you will get an option to see the current items. Okay, fine. Now let's run this. What it does, how it shows, or how it works. Let's see. Right. So we have three items in compose. What I did is I picked those three items, like first, second, third. The 101. Okay, 10001, 10002, 1003. These are the employee IDs. Right. So if you see how the loop is working, first of all, it shows the input for the first one. Right. Meaning it is, if you want to perform the any kind of operation on this single item of array, you are able to do that. Okay. Now my problem is I don't want to go through the objects. I would like to access the property of that object. I would like to access the property of that object. This output is going to give me the object, right? So instead of this, if I build, instead of this, if I build an expression saying output, and inside the output, I have a employee ID. Okay. So let's save this. Select an output from the previous step, which is required. Okay. So this kind of parameter, oh, sorry. What mistake I did is I did not use the again add or update. So maybe I'll not be able to use that one here directly, but let's try, because this is not, that will be not the part of array. But let me try this. Okay, let's see the compose of output, and here employee ID. Okay, what you need to do is you need to say add or object, otherwise it will not work. I don't think so, but let me try this, because we are not going to the object. Loop is applicable on the array. How it will work on the values. Okay, so as expected, it says employee ID cannot be evaluated because the employee ID property object cannot be selected. Array element can only be selected using the integer index. Right, right. So here we have an array. Here we have an array. So we cannot do that. So here you are supposed to pass the array, and array is nothing but output of our compose action. So this is your array. Okay, this is fine. Then from here, instead of, okay, so if you see in current item, we are getting a one object. We are getting a one object. Here also we can extract that value. We can extract the value. Okay. So input is, this is the one. Okay, we are getting one. So it gives what it gives. It gives the one object, right? That is in the curly bracket. When I say object, the data is in a curly bracket. When I say array, data is in a square bracket. I would like to access this property. Okay, here it is possible. At that level, it was not possible because that was a part of array. We can slice that, but then we will not be able to loop through the each and every item of the array. Okay, so here item. Okay, now let's see how this works. If I pass, we have two methods, items and item. If I pass item and then if I pass the employee ID, I'm not passing apply to each and anything here. Let's see whether this works or not. If I save this, this will be modified to current item. Okay, this is employee ID. Okay, now if I say item is going to refer the current item only, right? And input or output, you will be able to see that it is accessing my employee ID. What I was looking for, it gives me, right? So did I use the current item? No. So instead of using the current item, see, if you go to the previous step, you will see the option called current item. This is and item is same. Both are same. Now instead of this, I will use the build expression. Okay, let me delete that expression. Here I will use current item. And again, I will pass employee ID. Let's see what this gives me. It will give the same result. But this time I used items, not the item. The flow has been successfully executed and you can see the output is same. Right. So there are multiple ways to do this. If you use only item, you don't need to pass apply to each step. So this is the difference between item and items. So if I click on this, you need not to pass anything. This is not going on. This step, item only is nothing but current item. But if you use items, you can see it shows some kind of parameters are required, right? So like this. So what here we do is we just pass, since this item and items are used inside the loop only, inside the loop only. You can pass the name of loop, whatever will be there. Okay, here it is applied to each. I will say just loop. I will say just loop. Now if I go and if I select current item, okay, and let's say loop, and loop of employee ID. So save. And let's run. Still this will work. So this is completely based on this step, meaning whatever the name you will keep for the loop. Right. Still this is giving me the employee ID. So you can customize the loop name. You can customize or you can access the values of specific property from the object. Okay, this is fine. So loop is used just to loop through the each item of array. That's it. Now there is something called filter array. There is something called filter array. So you can filter this array. Okay, let's say this has read n number of rows. I don't want to get it for each and every row. I don't want to perform because even I don't need the data. Okay, so how you will filter the data in Power Automate? So you will use filter array operation. Okay, inside a data operation, we have a step called filter array. Here it will ask for the array. You can see array to filter, which array. So we have this, right? So this is body value. Inside a value, we have a array of objects. So we passed that. Okay. This is what we passed, meaning what we are doing, we are going through the array, right? We are going through the array. Here, it will ask for the parameter, meaning what you want to use. So I would like to use the name or any column. This is fine. Okay. So here I will say show more. Then I will search for the email. Okay. I will filter the data on based on the email. Again, you can see when I select the email, what it says, item question mark email, meaning this is pointing to the loop. The moment I say add and is equals to, okay, is equals to, okay, is equals to, let's say deva at the rate webchamp dot on microsoft.com. Okay, this is what the email ID. Save. So I would like to filter the data based on this step. Okay. So if I run this, how this filter array works, let's see. Okay, what input we passed? We passed these many arrays. We passed these many arrays. Output, if you see, we are getting only one item that is matching, right? So this is how filter array is used. Meaning whenever you get a data from the table, if you want to filter the table, what you will do, you will use the filter array step. You will pass. Okay. So now the question comes here. It uses the item question mark and then email. Why question mark is used? Because if it is not matching, it should not throw the error. If the key is not there, it should pass the data. Okay. Same thing I will use, but without email. Okay, this is fine, but this is auto generated, so you can build the expression. Okay, so now here if I say item and email. Okay, so this is what I will use. Let's try this and let's see how this behaves. So now this should get, okay, so when I say email, it will work the way earlier it works. It will work. You can see raw input, three arrays, meaning sorry, one array and which has three objects. And if I see the output, it gives me the output. Now okay, again I will build the expression. I will say item and I will say, instead of email, I will say emails. That's it, nothing. So how the question mark affects, we will see. Okay, it says emails. This is fine. It got the idea that it is coming from the table what we are looking for. And now if I run this, okay, it throws the error. Why? It says the expression emails, and this is failed. The evaluation of this expression is failed. Okay. Why? Because the emails does not exist, right? The emails property is not exist, right? So available property it shows. This is fine. Email is there, but emails is not there. So we got the error. issues. Then now what I will do is, instead of doing this, I want to avoid this error. Okay, I want to avoid this error. So what I will do is item question mark and emails. As I said earlier, if we use the question mark, it will not throw the error. It will execute the expression. And now, since email property is not there, it is not going to filter anything. It will give me the output as it is. Okay, this is what the input, list of arrays, 3 arrays, and output, if you see, okay, it is giving me the blank. But it is not throwing error. It is not throwing error. So what it has done, emails is not exist, but it, instead of throwing the error, what it does is it filtered everything. It gives the blank output. It gives the blank output. Okay, fine. So now, if I again modify this item, item is going to represent the current. Okay, so here it is not using the loop, right? The question is not coming in your mind. It is not using the loop. How the filter is going to work then? See, internally it will use the loop. That's why item is going to work here. And then if I pass email, add, but I will pass the email ID, which is not there. What it will do, it will just check if this email ID is exist, it will return the record. Otherwise, it will return as a null value, blank array. But if you give these values incorrectly, it will not perform the filter operation. It will pass the data as it is. If these parameters are not correct from array, if you don't pass the array here. Okay, instead of passing array, what we will do, we will pass the object. How to pass the object then? Okay, so let's say this is a dynamic content inside a object. I will pass this outputs of this, and this is going to return as an object, right? Object of status code, headers, body, right? Like this we get, and I will pass. I'm passing the object. Incorrect argument, if you pass, it will throw error. It will definitely throw the error. Okay. It says here only, it says for the input parameter action. Okay, filter array contains an invalid. Okay, this is fine. Why it is invalid? Because space is not replaced with the underscore. Okay, and we have built the expression. Let me copy this. Until you remove this, this screen is so small and this UI is not good for updating these expressions. So you need to remove everything, warning and all, and then you will be able to see the update option, right? Okay, so we passed object here and we are trying to filter the data. Now let's run this. Let's see what it does. So it should either throw the error stating that this step, right? This step is filter array failed to from, okay, a value in the query action input because of its type of object. Value must be type of an array. So you should understood this. This is what the important thing while doing a development, right? Okay, what I will do is, some people will do, what will do, they will use the create array method. Okay, so there is a method, right? Create array, and again I will pass this, and I will expect that this will go and this will apply the filter on this my data. This is how people initially start doing. Filter array executed. Okay, it got the array. This is fine. You will be able to see that what it does. It has created array. It has kept everything inside a square bracket. Create array is going to add the array. I mean, add the square bracket to your existing output. That's it. And we are trying to reach this email ID using this item. Using this item. So if I show you here, it will not filter anything. So don't do like this. Okay, you should be more specific, because if you are going through the items, that property, whatever the property will pass here in the filter, you should be able to reach. I mean, that should be the part of array of array item. So array item is nothing but an object, right? So here, if you pass directly, you will be able to select this is the expression is better way. I just wanted to show you. That's why I was typing. Otherwise, you will get in these options directly. And now, if I run, so filter array works properly. Okay, input and output. Right. So don't be frustrated at the first time, because you might be doing something wrong. So just think on that, what you have to pass there. So in filter array, we will pass the array, but from that array item, you should be able to access the property. Otherwise, you will not be able to filter. You will get a blank. Sometimes filter doesn't work. It will through all data as it is, it will pass. Okay. So this kind of things are going to happen. But in filter array, you should pass the array, and internally it will loop. It will go through each of the item of that array, and that item should have the property, whatever the property you are using to filter the data. Right. Now I would like to select the field. Okay, I don't want to use all this. So how to use the select? How to use the select? So here in data operation, we have a select called operation. We can say operation or action. So first of all, it is asking, okay, again, you can say array to select from. Okay, so I will pass the array. You should pass the array. Okay, if you pass the only output, it will not work. It will throw error. Now map. I would like to get the name. Okay, enter the text value here in mapping. You are going to create a new column, or instead of this, I would like to say emp name. Okay, I would like to change the name. You can do that here very easily, and then access the name from this. Okay, again, it says item, but I don't want to go to the item. I don't want to go to the list of body items. I want to go to the specific item. So definition, you will be able to see him. Again, it is going to loop. Internally, everything is taken care. You need not to apply the loop to get the each value, right? So this will give the. Then again, I will say role. I would like to access the only two. Okay, so let's build the expression. You can do that also. So you know, since this step, like filter array or select, internally it is going to loop. So I will say this, and I would like to say role. Right. So role is the column name or object property in the list of array. Now, if I run this again, it will return. Okay, select is going to return the object. Object meaning, sorry, it is going to return the array of object. Output in our input, we passed everything, right? All columns we passed. In input, raw input, you can see all columns we passed. Now, how this is changed to this? The column name is changed to emp name. Role, it is showing null, 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 null. This is fine. I use the question mark. And okay, so item, role, item, and item. Okay, not sure why, what is the difference, but if I go and if I pick it from here, role, or role might be not there. Oh, that's the reason. Role was there, role was not here. Designation is here. That's why. But because of that question mark, what it has done, it has written me null instead of returning a error, because that property was not there, but still it executed. And let's say this. Okay, so this is our input. These many fields we passed, but we selected only two. So this shows name, field, name, field, name, and role. Okay, so designation to role, column name we changed here. So what we can do in the select, we can change the column names as per our convenient, and we can map the data from the table, whatever the table you are using, right? So these many operations you can perform. This is how you can work with the object. This is how you can work with the object, right? Still there are properties. Okay, still there are properties. We will see the meanings. Still there are some methods that you can use. So what I did is I have a name, role, certification property here. Maybe I would like to add the email ID here. Okay, so now this is not required, so I will delete that action. And what I will do is I will use the compose here, because I am going to perform few more. I mean, I just wanted to show you some other functions also, how that can be used on this object, right? So here, if I go to the variable, so this will give me the info. So now what I would like to do is I would like to use the function called property, meaning I wanted to add the new property. Okay, so we have a name, a role, certification. I would like to add the email. I would like to add the email. So you can use add property. Okay, and here what will be the object? So your object is nothing but this is, and what will be the new property name? I will say email. And what will be the value? So value is like okay, so this is what my value. Okay, and let me run the flow. So earlier I shown you how to use the set property, how to use the remove property. Now we are seeing how to add the new property, right? So raw input. So in compose, obviously whatever the expression you have given, that is nothing but the input there. So it has added the email. Earlier this was not there. If you see here, so output email is not there, right? So it has added the one more property. So if you want to add the property, you can add this. This is fine. Okay. Then we have a function called coalesce. How to use the coalesce function? Okay, this is not only related to the object, but this is general function. Coalesce. This function is used. Okay. First of all, you should pass the list of values. So I will pass first. I will pass null. Again, I will pass null. Okay, whatever the number of, you can pass the expressions here. Okay, you can pass the expressions here. If the first expression returns null, it will try to execute the second expression. If second expression returns null, it will try to execute the next expression. So this is very similar to the Power BI Colisk function, if you are familiar with the Power BI. Otherwise, the way we handle the null values in SQL using the, we can use the Colisk also. If nulls are there, even NVL function is in Oracle. So that's the way it handles the null values. And here, but that is for the one level of expressions, meaning if first evaluates null, then you can use another value. But here you can pass n number of expressions. There is no limit as such. So I will pass here as a 1. Okay. And 1 is not null. So let's see, add and save and run. See here, what we are not doing anything using the Colisk. I just wanted to show you how the Colisk function works. Okay, and input you can see 1. Okay, so what it has picked is the value which is not null, So this is useful while building the logic when you are looping, and then it might throw the null values for n number of iterations. Then it might pick the first value. So this is how you can use first non. So we can say Colisk is used to pick the first non-null value from a list of inputs, whatever the inputs you will pass. Okay. Then we have something called JSON. Okay. So JSON is a object, and here JSON. Okay. So what it does, so JSON is used to convert the string or XML into JSON object. So if we have anything in the string, okay, so like here, if I use the string function, I will use, and here you need to pass the this. Okay, save. Input is required. Oh my god, I did not. Okay, let me remove this. This is a pain itself. So let me use the string. So string is used if you want to convert the your variable or your output of any step into the text format. You will be able to use the string function. And run the flow. Okay. So here you can see the input is in string format. It has converted. Similarly, if I would like to convert this string to the JSON object, so I can do that. And I can use again compose 1. Compose 1 is we will use. So JSON is the another function that is used to convert your JSON data, meaning the string or XML data, the data which is in. So variable compose output is going to give me the string, right? So I will use this. Not sure if anything is bad in that string, and then it will not work. But yes, so JSON is used to convert the data into the string. If you have an object, meaning JSON format data, key and value pair data in the string format, you can use the JSON function to convert that into the object. Here you can see what is the input. It's text. If I go here you can see it has converted again. String is converted into the JSON, meaning the object, right? So JSON function is used to do this kind of job. Variables we saw already. Many times we use the variable to access the value of variables if you want to use variables. So here also again we are using the output of compose, but here we are using the output of variables. So variables function is used to access the value of variable. Right. So there are a lot many functions are associated with the object and all, but this is the basic way to work with the object in a Power BI. Sorry, in Power Automate. Okay, in Power BI we directly deal with the table, but in Power Automate we cannot deal with the table. So everything you will have, meaning entire table you will have in the form of list of object, and you need to use this approach whatever we saw in this session for the object transformation or working with the object, right? So I hope you like the content of this video. Thank you so much for watching the video. Have a nice day. Please do not forget to subscribe WebChamp and learn the things easily. Thank you. Happy learning.